welcome to the Tech Room podcast. This is David Rogoski, one of the business partners at Tech 387. I am honored to have Nick Reidy, the CEO and founder of Tribe, with us today. Nick, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, it's great to be here.
Great to have you. Great to see the New England Patriots football helmets in the background as always. So we've been working with you now for a good while now, 7 or 8 months.
7 months.
Yeah. Would love to, and it's funny, and I'm not always involved with every conversation, in terms of the things that you're working with us. So I am looking forward to learning more about your story. So would love to start off by just asking you about anything you're comfortable with sharing, your background, you know, what's the story behind what led to Tribe? I'd love to hear more.
So I'm from Boston, Massachusetts. Go Pats. You see in the background, go Pats. And I grew up in a middle class. I've grown up in a middle working class family. Uh, Going to school, and I went to college, and I got a political science degree in college. But I've always been interested in business, and I've done a lot of research into business. And then once I got into college, I had a lot of problems with social. Like, I was a little bit on the shy side. I was kind of not really the most popular guy on campus, so I had trouble my freshman and my sophomore year getting friends and dealing with the social stigma of that. And it wasn't really until my junior year where I met some good roommates and made some good friends, and then they became my friends, and I started hanging out with them, and I found my tribe, so to speak, that I really got, I got off the ground, and I really started to shine. I made a lot more friends and connections. And that's what kind of inspired me to create Tribe, because I understand that there are so many other kids my age and in my generation, Generation C, that are going through the same thing. So that's why want want to build a connected world where we get through like the mental illness, to stop the illnesses of isolation, loneliness, and depression. So to improve America and to build connections and really harness the powerful economic force of human to human connection.
Absolutely, I love this story because you know everyone has like certain first impressions when they meet someone, and they have these you know preconceived notions about people. And I just remember meeting you. You're so unassuming, modest person, and then I found out later that you're a marketing expert, and you're and I was just so impressed. I'd love to. What do you what do you think? Like you said, like your first couple of years in college felt a little shy, and then you met some friends. Like, was there anything in particular that like turned that switch for you, like in your junior and senior year, that kind of opened you up a little bit?
Well, I got them as my roommates, so I lived with them, and then that allowed me to make more connections with them. And then I found out that I had a lot, like, they were kind of on the nerdy side of the fence too. So, like, I had like the dragon. You see the Japanese dragon in the background. That my kind of taste. I also have a bunch of Star Wars posters around my room. So, yeah, I'm just always going to Fan Expo and stuff. So I found my community there, and they also enjoy that stuff. And I also went to Fan Expo with them. So that's really what flipped my switch, is having common interest, which is again a factor of tribe.
Right, and so it was just sort of a serendipity, I guess. You got paired up with these roommates, and you just happened to have a lot in common with them. You felt really comfortable with them.
Yeah, and I knew some of them prior to campus, and I kind of liked them, but
Okay.
then I connected with a bunch of the other roommates there too. So yeah, we all got along well together.
Okay. Well, that's awesome. So you met these guys. You finished out your collegiate career, poli sci major. What happened next? Like, what were you thinking as you approached graduation? In terms of what's your next steps? What are you going to do with your career? Take me back to that moment in time. Like, what were the thoughts were going through your mind back then?
Well, at first I wanted to go. into politics, but then I realized that then after doing some research, there was no money in politics. So then I transitioned into marketing. So I went to work for marketing research, marketing firms, and I just did some freelance work for a while. Then I worked for some media companies, and then I just ended up saying, hey, why don't I have this great idea? So why don't I just like go and approach a venture builder like yourself, and go create my own company and like revolutionize change in America.
Got it. So first, as a poli sci major, you started looking into some political opportunities.
Yeah, there was no money in it though. There was no money in it.
Yeah. Okay. And so you realize that you have rent to pay and you have to eat. So started looking into, I guess, different marketing opportunities.
I work for marketing firms, like PR firms. Yeah.
Okay. And it's just so interesting how every it's almost every one of us, we have these walks through our lives, and a lot of times where you end up is unplanned. Like in the beginning, you were thinking, I'm political science, I'm going to get into politics, and then you all through the environment of politics, you realize that there wasn't a lot of money in it, and then you had to find something else, and your immediate reaction was, well, at least let me find something that's kind of similar to what I'm already doing. It just so happened that was like marketing and PR. And so then you got into that just through a natural transition, not that you had original plans to do that.
Yeah, and part of my PR career is doing a lot of script writing. So I write scripts. Like I wrote some of the scripts for the ads for Tribe. We haven't managed to utilize those yet, but down the road I would like to.
Nice. Yeah, absolutely. Um, and so that sort of got you into developing certain marketing skills. So then what I'd love to learn a little bit more about, because it's a big leap going from an employee and having a job where there's some stability and you have some income coming in, to becoming an entrepreneur. So I would love to hear a little bit more about that transition that you made. Like what prompted you to start considering becoming an entrepreneur?
Because I wanted to become an entrepreneur because I've always wanted to be my own boss. Of course, like down the line, and also getting like the yacht with the helicopter would also be nice down the road. But mostly because I like being a leader. I've always had creative ideas and I wanted to utilize them, and just like help change the world and build and bring people together.
That I find that very interesting because you go back to the beginning of your story. You start off as this shy human being, kind of introverted, and after 5 6 years, fast forward, you want to be your own boss. You want to become a leader. You want to put yourself out there. Was there any, like, I know there's probably maybe not one single thing, but were there any common themes that sort of happened? Maybe was it the initially meeting your roommates in junior year that gave you that confidence, but was there anything else that kind of caused that evolution in you?
Well, during some of my work, I've had some gaps in my job career, so it kind of inspired me to kind of get moving, get some momentum going, and try to tinker around with different ideas. Like Tribe wasn't my first idea. I had some other startup ideas, but I settled on Tribe because it made the most economic and business sense to do. So I've always been sort of creative and sketching out and rough drafting ideas, but Tribe was the first one I really took action on. So I've always had an entrepreneurial spirit, and you guys at Tech Create Southern were the first ones to really like give me a chance. I tried some in the United States, and they usually were like, "Oh, well, we only do it in house." So like you guys were the first ones to accept ideas from the outside and get it from like the ground and build it from the ground up.
Got it. Yes. So again, it's just sort of this continuing evolution where you had some gaps where you had to be creative and think about, okay, I had these opportunities in marketing, but now there's some gaps. I have to continue to evolve and think about what's my next step, and that you researched several ideas. You said that tribes seemed to make the most business sense to you. Would care to elaborate a little bit more on the thought process that you went through as you were thinking about tribe, and what made you feel that this was made a lot of business sense to you?
Well, I'm from a town outside of Boston, and a lot of people my age are bored out of their minds because I'm always looking around for things to do. Like I'm always looking for nature trails or hiking or restaurants to go to. But I have to do my own research, and it's very hard to kind of find those places. And I don't like going to and I realize I don't really like going to those places by myself. So wouldn't it be cool if I had an app to connect me with people with common interests and actually be sort of a friend finder? Like do it with 4 or 5 people and then go out for burgers and fries, or go out to like a skiing or you know paintballing with them. I mean, it seems like fun activities to do, because when you do things with small groups, you're more likely to make meaningful connections than with large like Facebook events where everyone just kind of is shy and they don't really know how to, they don't really feel like they feel intimidated and they don't know how to approach people. So that's really what inspired me to do it, because I know that there are so many people my age that are bored and disconnected. Even though we're connected with the internet, we're disconnected because everyone's distrustworthy of everyone else.
Yeah, and I know you and I have talked about this briefly in the past, but not in any great depth. That was really going to be my next question. Like, so, the initial passion for this idea came from just your own personal life experiences, and how that you could see how much it could help you individually, and maybe even some of your the groups of people that you associated with. But then I wanted to ask the question, the broader, like how society is evolving through technology and social media, and how that is also seemingly, like almost ironically, disassociating people from each other physically. Like there's this virtual world, but in the physical world, all of a sudden everyone's becoming lonely. Did you do any, like, I'd like to hear your perspective on that.
Well, I did research and I found like the US Surgeon General did a study that came out and said that being lonely actually is worse than having a heart attack. Like it's equal to having like 50 heart attacks or something like that from depression. So that got me interested. That really got me going on the tribe idea, and it really has negative health effects. So like it can cause like a depression and suicide, and it really has more harmful health effects than eating like a ton of carbs or something like that. It's extremely stressful, and so it's a way like not only to connect people but actually save their lives, because there are so many people that feel like they can't connect, and because of all the social stigma that's out there and everyone's nervous about approaching everyone else and they're afraid to date people now. So tribe could also be a means for people to date, because it's about like small groups, but they could be mixed groups with boys and women. So like that's another way, because the way you start a relationship is by starting off as friends and then connecting together, then you usually end up dating your friend.
Wow, that's fascinating. So you found this article through your research that just really hit you. Oh, Surgeon General report. Okay. So you found that. Okay, and that really hit you. I mean, that like is a very profound statement.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was that bad. I know people are lonely, but I didn't know, especially post pandemic, it was causing a lot of like it's deeply needed because it was causing a lot of mental health issues.
Yeah, yeah. That's very interesting. So you found that you did your research. You realized that this could really add a lot of value, not only for you but for society at large, especially Gen Z. So tell us a little bit about Tribe, about your idea. What it is, and you're welcome to walk through a simple hypothetical example if you want. But I'd love to learn more about it.
So tribe is like I've already previously said, tribe is dedicated. The goal is to connect people, is to get rid of the mental illness crisis that's impacting Gen Z of loneliness, isolation, and depression. And the way it does that is by connecting people connecting people based on their common interests, and then setting up in-person hangout meetings. So like if you like burgers and fries, then you can go out with a group of people that likes like our tribe that likes burger and fries, and usually those are four people in a group, in a tribe group. So you can go out to burgers and fries. You can do paintballing. You can do escape rooms. You can do skiing. Laser tag, bowling. That's what tribe's about. So it's in tribe is also uh, as long as there's this individual like business consumer end of it, there's also a business to business end of it because we're going to be doing a lot of promotions with businesses. So it helps bring foot because it helps bring foot traffic through their doors and more money to their businesses.
Absolutely. So now with, I guess, so we worked with you to create an application where you can register on Tribe and set up a profile. Now, how does it work if, say, you wanted to find a social event near you? Um, is there ways to like find specific types of like people or specific types of events, or how would it work for someone?
Right now, there's just a general database where like they have a listed amount of businesses that people can select. But when we get after, because we're in conversations with investors, so we're planning to upgrade it so that it looks more like a Google search. Like when you look up restaurants, we're like the on the right on the left side of the screen, there's going to be a list of businesses that people can look up, and they can say like, oh, well, we want burgers and fries, and it shows them like a list of burger restaurants that they can go to. And at the top is our affiliated businesses where they have a golden shine and like they're promoted more than the others. And then there's an AI boost that pushes them to our users.
So you can also, I think you can create, like if you're a person, you can not only join other, groups, activities or events, but you can create your own. So let's say you like burgers and fries, and like you said, at some point we're going to have this sort of like a Google Maps kind of thing where it's more visual and you can kind of see the geographic location and the list of the different, restaurants, etc. But you could yourself, create your own tribe event and say, all right, next Friday, 7 p.m., burgers at such and such a place. And then is it set up where you can invite people, or do you just like open it up to the general tribe community and then just is like first come first serve, or like how does the group get formed?
When the tribe group would get formed when you fill out your profile on Tribe, kind of like Tinder. So you have to say like what your likes and what your description is, and then the algorithm will match you to different people. Then you can select. Then you have like a list of people that you can choose from, and they can then form. Once you choose free people, you can get them to form a tribe group with you.
That's really interesting. That's really cool. That's amazing. Um, and so it's like it's Tinder for friendship groups, sort of.
And there's also some. It has a home feed, kind of like Instagram, where you can put like once you have your experiences, you can post them up and do replies and chats. And then there's also a kind of a Reddit function where there's a chat room where you guys can talk about different things in your own common, like if you like Batman or how Rings of Power kind of sucks or something like that. Then that's also a function of it. So and that's done on purpose so that there's some familiarity with it because it's familiar with other apps that they do.
Makes sense. Absolutely. So it's sort of taking the best of different worlds out there and putting it into one package to help solve this loneliness problem. I love it. I love it. So
Yeah, yeah. Then it also has AI functions. So do you want to talk about that?
yeah, absolutely.
So the AI boost function for the businesses would be to boost them to our users, like saying like, oh, like this user can match up with these people because you all like burgers and fries, or you all like paintball. Then you can do this event with these people and go to this location. That's with our subscriber businesses, and we're also going to do a lot of promotions with our businesses as well. And then we're also going to put some AI functions for chat, like AI chatbots in our chat room so that people will always have someone to talk to, and a health coach for mental health and put them with mental health resources.
Interesting.
They could design their own avatars at some point.
That's very cool. So would what you, at least from my perspective and the little bit that I know about this space, this is a very unique thing. What would you say is your in terms of like the larger social media platforms that are out there? What would you say is sort of the closest thing to it? And how is Tribe similar or different from that? Say like for example maybe like Meetup or something.
Yeah, the closest business would be Meetup, but Tribe is superior because Meetup is just like general events, like general Facebook events you do at like bookstores and farmers markets. We're just saying like, oh, like kind of like Eventbrite where you say, oh, well, I'm just going to this thing. It doesn't really connect people together, and it's just like a general generic public event. So it doesn't connect people together on an individual level, and it's also non-organic because like it's just sort of like I've said before, it's kind of messy when you do that. Plus, when you look at Meetup, they're not a very successful business. They had to sell the WeWork a while back, like the company that went bankrupt a while back, and they've had zero growth over 20 years.
Oh wow, interesting. Yeah, I mean, I will say, like, I've used Meetup before. I mean, it does have certain benefits and it has its purpose. But the last Meetup that I attended, I remember I didn't know anyone, and like you said, it was probably, I don't know, 50 plus people, and it was so impersonal that I mean, and like I got there a little bit late, and by the time I got there, everyone was already in their little groups talking to each other, and it felt like if I'm going to talk to someone, I'm going to have to sort of like just sort of butt in with a existing conversation, and I don't know these people, and it was uncomfortable. So I definitely resonate with what you're saying there, and how Tribe can be much more intimate, and really, it's not just one topic that you have in common. It goes a little bit deeper than that with your commonalities that you might share with this group of four people. And so I really really like the direction that you've taken this. So going back to you're thinking about Tribe. You reached out to a few other investor types, or potential co-founders, but you had this. I know some of what we just talked about now had been formulated over the last 7 months, but this was the basic concept. You had it in your head. You met Tech 387. How did you find? Or how did you come across Tech 387, and how did you end up getting started with us?
So I was on Y Incubator Finder, and that's when I came across Dennis, and that's how like I saw a link to Tribe. I mean a link to Tech 387, and that's how I got connected with you guys. It was for Y Incubator.
Yeah, Y Combinator. Yeah. Mhm. Yes. Yes. Okay. Yes. And so you met Dennis, and then
And then I chat with Arslan, and then we took off from there.
yes, got it. And so we started working together, and then how have things developed since the beginning? Like take us through sort of the process between over the last 7 months.
It took well, we designed Tribe, we went through the storyboarding, and then we just kind of took off from there. Like I went over my vision for Tribe, and then we designed it, and then it took a while to get to the like designing the landing page and doing all that. It kind of maybe took a little too long to do that, like because right now we're just trying to get published in the App Store, and that's kind of like the general feeling. Like met your team, wonderful team, very creative, stellar job on the pitch deck and on the landing page, like I've said, and then we just kind of gone to the space where we're almost ready. I've gotten my first two businesses interested in working with Tribe, and I've also put some other businesses on Tribe, and we're launching in the New York City initially.
That's exciting. How did you? I mean, I really personally like your decision to start with New York City, but how did that come about?
It kind of makes sense to go focus on one location where you get the most bang for your buck. And plus with Tribe's model with particular is particularly interesting to West restaurants. So it kind of makes sense to go focus on the place that has 25 restaurants in one location.
Absolutely. Such a high.
And then like our main target audience is also college kids. So and college kids and recent graduates, and there's a big workforce in New York, and there's a huge bunch of universities in New York. So it made sense to do that, to focus on New York City first and then spread it out to other major cities across the US.
Yeah, I mean, I think you made an interesting statement there about like trying to be really focused and starting in a specific, demographic in the beginning. That's very difficult to do. It's easier said than done, but it really helps. Like if you're able to really be as specific as possible in your target customer, your target location, that naturally helps with like the branding and the messaging and the marketing. It can really tie everything together, and it also, homogeneize, makes more homogeneous the customers, initial customers that you on board, and so you can get like some really valuable feedback and from people who really would need and use your service. So what is your planned business model for Tribe and how you would make money?
So the business funnel is both B2C and B2B. So B2C is like what I've already drafted out with connecting individual users and tribe groups of four, and then eventually we do a subscription thing down the line with six group, where like there's something called Bros Night, where you can just pick guys to hang out with and do like wings and sports and so forth. And then there's Girls Night, which is sort of the reverse, where like girls can go out, like it can do open invitations. Like if you're a college girl and your friends are all busy with exams, and then like, you want to go out to a restaurant or you want to go out to a nightclub, but nobody likes going out to a restaurant nightclub by yourselves. So you can send out like an open invitation for people in your area, whatever radius you choose, and then you can select the ones you want to go to a nightclub with, and then you can select the nightclub you want to go to.
So from B2C, it'll be
And B2C, the way they would make money is through ads at first, because we're going to do it free to promote growth, and then the other wing of it is B2B, where I've already outlined how we're going to go to businesses and we're going to do promotions through them and give them free boosts for promoting our app to encourage growth, and they would pay $100 subscription a month, where they would get like AI boosts, and they would get on top of the list where they get a golden hue, and like we'd be pushing them, the AI would be pushing them out a lot harder than the other businesses and highlighting them more. So this would encourage more foot traffic through their doors and a lot more profits for them.
very nice, very nice. So you've got ways to monetize this on both sides, through the users and the businesses. I know one of the challenges that we've faced or had to think about was getting that initial traction. It's a little bit of a catch-22 situation. Like you need, users using the platform and communities being built in order for businesses to be interested in coming on board. But at the same time, in order to entice users to sign up to the platform, you need to give them access to certain businesses. How have you sort of approached that in your strategy of getting some initial traction?
Well, I called a couple of businesses in New York, and I did get some success. Like we had Black Iron Burger, which is ready to sign up with us, and we're talking with Area 53. They want to do it a little, which is like a paintball and venture park place that's in Brooklyn, and they're open to having a relationship with us and potentially coming on board as a subscriber. But they said they're willing to do it quickly if they get more users on board. So we have some traction along those lines. And the other way we do it, because we can't just have two locations. Obviously, we can't just have two locations on our app. So we're just going to put a bunch of locations on free, and then later on, like kind of go to them, say, hey, we brought like 500 people to your business, and like, would you want to develop more of a relationship with us and become a subscriber?
Yes, yes. It's sort of taking like an iterative approach where you're offering free access to both sides initially, and then you kind of iterate, and as each side grows a little more and more, it entices you to go back to them and start pitching offers to you getting some premium access and premium options through a subscription, and becomes more worth their while.
Yeah, and I looked and like we're gonna give them some free AI boosts. Like we give them like $100 a month, or like 2 months for $200 if they put like advertisements up on their restaurants, like putting a poster up in their restaurants with their QR code, so when people walk in, they can take a photo of it and download our app. And also, like if they want to put a big billboard, like if they're around Times Square, I was thinking that they could put like a big billboard on the street side of it where people walk past, and they can also take photos and maybe get some special authors that way. They get some free AI boost for a couple months for doing that. Because I
Sure.
really want to encourage growth to be able to scale up the business.
Yeah, and I think you've discussed with some potential businesses the concept of through the QR code process offering any tribes that come into their business, and they can get a free drink or something.
Yeah, for their party, they can get like a free side order of fries or a free soda or something that goes along with it. Because you offer something that's free, people will take the offer and they'll download the app.
Yeah, and so I got to say, this is part of the of being an entrepreneur that is very, very difficult, where you have to start, you know, once you've used up your network, you have to go out there. And I mean, there is digital marketing, there's certain advertising if you have the budget for it, but then like you've actually taken the initiative to actually go out and cold call, and I find that really impressive. When we go back to the beginning of your story, where you started off as this shy, introverted individual, and now you're doing one of the hardest things that exists in sales, and that's cold calling people. It's just really impressive. I really appreciate that, admire that you're able to do that.
Yeah, and the thing I've experienced is it's when you're cold calling, don't be depressed when they say no, because this is something new, and everyone's usually when it's something new, everyone's afraid to jump in, be the first ones to jump in.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah,
In business, you're going to hear no a lot more than you hear yes.
yeah. That's definitely true, but it is a mindset, and it is it takes a lot of you know soul searching sometimes to prepare yourself for that, and to go out and do it anyway, and to figure out different approaches. And some of it's trial and error too. As you go through these rejections, you may alter your message a little bit, or there may be some common reasons why people are shying away, and you change like your approach, right?
Yeah, yeah, and you have to remember that Twitter and Uber and Facebook, like a lot of people doubted them, and a lot of people said no to them too. Like a lot of these firms and a lot of businesses said no because they didn't see the value in it. But then they were doubted until they weren't.
Yeah, it's totally true. So we're close. There was a little bit of back and forth in the beginning. It took a little bit more time than we mutually expected, but we're in review in the app. We're close to that now. We're on the cusp of getting released, an MVP that at least has some of the basic functionality to get people on the platform. You've already got some interested businesses. You also mentioned to me recently an idea you had about approaching universities in New York City through some mental health initiatives. Would love to hear if you're interested in sharing a little more about that.
So I have actually reached out to some of the colleges, and I have to probably talk to some people higher up, because they say that they only offer an internship, like they offer internship programs. So I'm actually in the process of pushing an internships on like New York University and Columbia, and trying to get them to list it. I've actually got one, Fordham University, to put it up on there. So there are some jobs and there are some internship opportunities for student credit that people can do in order to download the app on the college campuses and push mental health awareness.
That's really creative. I mean, honestly, I never would have thought of that. I think that's a great idea. You leveraging the university resources, who just happen to also be your customer persona as it is. So you can find a student who might be interested in getting into marketing, business development, offering them an internship, where you're partnering with the university, where the university will give the student credit for towards graduation for participating in your internship. It's unpaid, but the student is getting great experience, and they're already there. They're on campus. They have their own set of friends, and they can with the marketing aspect being that the mental health benefits that your app can offer. And so, it's like a win-win-win. It's a win for the university, it's a win for the student, and it's a win for Tribe.
Yeah, exactly. Um, and like we could do food trucks and other events like that on college campuses once we get our funding in. It's really the deal because our core demographic is college students. So it makes sense for us to develop relations, and there are grants out there that the government could give us to also promote mental health on the college campuses. So it probably won't be expensive for us to do. Plus, it kind of makes sense to have some presence on the college campuses.
I love it. I love it. I think it's awesome. So you've gotten this far. It's highs and lows, ups and downs, but you've made when you look back on it and zoom out, you've made a lot of great progress. You have an idea that has enormous potential and enormous benefit for society. So you're on the cusp of potentially something big here. What are your planned next steps for Tribe?
Well, we're going to be launching on the App Store. I don't know if it's going to be next week or this week or being next week. Dennis hasn't been very clear about it. So the next step is to launch it on the App Store and then start getting people on the app and doing some marketing to increase our users up. And then, like I'm saying, doing the internship on the college campus and trying to get some traction going with like once it's on the college campuses and we're getting like a couple thousand users, then I can go use it to get some press in New York City, and that will help us get out. Maybe I could first get into some student newspapers, and then then expand from there.
What I like about that is that you're coming up with strategies with minimal budget to create more awareness around what you're doing, and you're iterating it one step by step, like small investments step by step, and each little milestone that you reach gives you a chance to market something different to either consumers or businesses, and you're just like climbing this ladder piece by piece. And I mean, you're setting this up. It's a lot of hard work. It takes a lot of courage, but you are setting yourself up to where you're having the ability to bootstrap this piece by piece. And in theory, it is conceivable that you could actually grow this and become a multi-million-dollar business without raising any capital at all. And so what I like about this is that you're not necessarily, we're going to try to raise capital for sure. It would make things take a lot less pressure. It takes the pressure off of you, make things a lot easier, but you're not necessarily relying on that. You're coming up with ways within what you have, the means that you have and what you can control to grow this. But that is, I guess, ideally though, would you say that if we could raise some money to accelerate the development and the marketing, I think that would be ideal. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I would really like another venture partners. Like you guys are great, but I need I would like one that's based in the United States, particularly in New York City. And if I could get a venture capital firm to invest some seed funding in Tribe, then that would be awesome. It would definitely help us scale up more and make the app more impressive and really put those special features in like the AI wellness coach and the AI chat avatar and so forth that would really make it grow out and expand a lot quicker. Would
Yeah.
really hook people in.
Makes sense. So, so you've been through. I mean, this has been a lot. I mean, we're talking about this has only been, 7 months or so, and you've already developed all of this, in terms of ideas and business process and marketing well, I would love for you. And is there anything that you'd like to share with just whoever's listening to this, any lessons or messages for aspiring entrepreneurs that can either inspire them or teach them to navigate the startup space.
What you have to do, the startup space can be very intimidating because for every business that succeeds, there's probably a million businesses that fail. But if you go in there with that kind of mindset, then you're going to fail right off the bat, because if you don't try, then you've already failed. Right? The first step is you have to try. Don't let people say this and that. You don't know until you try and see if your business is ideal. Maybe it will fail, because a lot of businesses do, but unless you are willing to take that first step of courage and try your idea, you'll never know if it succeeds, because you don't know. Like, there are tons of stupid ideas that do make money. Like TikTok is just like videos where people do dances and like act like cats and stuff. Yet for some reason everybody goes on there. It's kind of like, when you get down to it, it's kind of retard fuel. But I don't know why people buy into it. And like look at Facebook and Twitter. They're not really that complicated ideas. It's just like people posting and then responding to other people's posts, and then then people sharing those posts. Like, if you really put that down on paper, there's no way that business should make any money, but it's now one of the wealthiest companies out there. So you never know what people are going to buy, because there are a lot of consumers out there that are kind of gullible.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great message to share. That having that perseverance and and the confidence and belief in in yourself, and to it's never easy, and there's always challenges and tribulations and doubts, and problems. But when you keep going, when you don't give up, and you keep trying to take every setback as if you can get some kind of learn something from it, and then take that to the next situation, then you're one step closer to climbing that mountain. So I think that's great advice. So yeah, this was good. What else that we haven't talked about? What else, Nick, would you like? Anything else you want to share or talk about? Or
I mean, I think Tribe, well, once again, it's going to make a big, huge difference in society. And it's going to, like, the power to connect. The problem is we've lost our sense of community in the United States. And no, like, neighbors can't talk to neighbors anymore. And like, even when I was on my dorm, you can't, like, people don't talk to it. Like, you could be living next to somebody for months, and then you don't really talk to your neighbors at all. Everybody's in their own bubble. So it's a way to burst the social bubble, connect people, and give a sense of community again.
yeah, I agree. I love it. I think it's great. It's a very positive thing that you're doing for society. I really hope and believe that this is going to work out. And it's a long journey, but you've made a lot of great strides so far. So we really appreciate the opportunity to partner with you to the extent that we're able to, and assist in getting you to these next steps. And we're hopeful that we can continue to help you. And yeah, we definitely appreciate this. Was a great conversation. We'll definitely have to have another one, months down the road, when you've got some users and we've done some iterations with the app, and sort of have a progress update. In the meantime, where can people find you, Nick, and find Tribe?
People can message me. Like, I have a profile on LinkedIn, and you can also message me at Twitter, which is Nick Reidy, Reidy 29 at Twitter.
Love it. Okay. Sounds great. Well, thank you, Nick, very much for your time. I appreciate it, and all the best. And we look forward to the next steps in the journey. And everyone at Tech Room Podcast, thank you for listening, and hope you got some benefit out of this. And until the next one.